It's official, Manny Pacquiao is running for president of the Philippines in the 2022 elections. He filed his certificate of candidacy along with running mate Lito Atienza last Friday, October 1st. Gentlemen, we all know that this decision to run for the highest position in the country came on the heels of his retirement from the sport of boxing. But let's address the elephant in the room. The biggest question is, will he stay retired after the elections? In boxing, it's not new. If a boxer decides to unretire and get back inside the ring, Manny did just that in 2016. Remember, he called it a career 5 years ago when he ran for senator. Months after winning a seat in the Senate, he came back. Robert, do you honestly believe that we've seen the last of Manny Pacquiao inside the ring?
To be honest, Nisi, parang hindi pa eh. Yeah, just like what you mentioned, he did this 5 years ago, back in 2016, after his third fight with Bradley. He announced that he's retired and he'll just focus with the position that he was running at that time, which was a senatorial seat. That then eventually, after he won the seat, after I think that was 5 months, right? He fought Vargas. Then the rest was history. He fought a number of times. So same scenario, 5 years after again, pero this time he will be running for a bigger seat. If you're gonna ask me, if I'm gonna base it with his last fight with Ugas, actually he still has it, you know. He can still fight. But if you're gonna ask me if he'll do the same thing, for me possibly yes, because he still has it. And if you've been doing this stuff for more than 2 decades, eventually tatawagin ka pa rin ng your body to do it again.
In 2007, lumaban pa nga si Manny Pacquiao against Jorge Solis while in the middle of a campaign period for his congressional bid against Darlene Antonino Custodio in General Santos. Ginawa niya ulit ito noong 2010 against Joshua Clottey, and in 2016, tulad nga na sabi mo, Robert, against Timothy Bradley. That was the third fight. JM, were you surprised with Manny Pacquiao's approach to his political bid this time around?
You know, the thing about Manny Pacquiao is nothing he does can surprise you anymore, you know. We've seen this over and over. Like you said, Manny Pacquiao has supposedly retired in 2016. Then he came back during a campaign. You know, he would fight. You know, it's free PR, it's free publicity. To be honest with you, I was surprised with the way he announced his retirement. Kasi meron nga lumabas pa na article sa Vice News that it was half campaign, half music video. So just not too long ago, me and Kuya Seb Sarmenta, veteran sports analyst, we're talking about it. Was this just a PR move? Because Kuya Seb, you know, as an expert in the field of public relations, he felt that it was perfect timing, no? And the announcement came after he actually filed his certificate of candidacy, after he announced that he is going to run for president. So for me, I think he could have at least fought once more na parang go out on a blaze of glory, go out on a win. But if itong naging decision niya, not surprising kasi if I'm not mistaken, he also said back in 2016 when he retired because he wants to focus on his Senate duties. No? So this time, I don't know how you will read it, pero parang mas well prepared yung announcement niya for supposedly his retirement sa boxing.
We can all agree that the fight against Yordenis Ugas was intended to be both a publicity stunt for his political bid, and you can consider it as a farewell fight. Now, the problem here is that he lost to Ugas. We talked about it on the show a couple of times that he could have considered fighting again before February 8th, which is the start of the campaign period. I do get the logic that this is different because he's gunning for a much higher post, which will require more visibility from him, unlike in 2016. But speaking of retirement, he could have walked away in 2016 with a victory against Timothy Bradley, and in 2019 against Keith Thurman. Just like many legends in the sport, he went out on his back. If this is it talaga, Now, gentlemen, are you guys at peace as to how Manny Pacquiao exited the sport? Let's start with JM.
The thing about boxing is you're really never gonna know what's going to happen next, no? If we will take a look at his arch nemesis, sa kanyang arch rival sa Floyd Mayweather, nakailang retire, nakailang balik. Yung huli, Logan Paul pa, di ba? Meron pang Conor McGregor, di ba? So you're never going to say. Kasi,
Tenshin Nasukawa pa.
oh, di ba? May daming ganon. Maybe Manny Pacquiao does an exhibition. We can never tell for sure, in this sport. And the only person who can actually state it for a fact is si Manny. But then again, guys, we have to look at the history of boxing. Back then, George Foreman made history by becoming the oldest heavyweight world champion in history at 45 years old when he knocked out Michael Moorer. Many years later, na-break yun ni Bernard Hopkins. And then if I have to mention as well, the likes of Roberto Duran, he fought until he was 50 years old. Diba? So you have fighters, legends of the sport who kept fighting way past their prime. Now, masusurprise ka ba kung si Manny Pacquiao bumalik? I don't think so kasi 42 years old, by the time na matapos yung campaign niya, next year he's going to be 43. Now, let's just say, okay, I don't know what to say about this. If he loses, right, he's at 43 years old, then maybe he can come back. Kasi again nga, we talk about the likes of Bernard Hopkins, the likes of Foreman, still being competitive and winning championship at 45 and up. And then you have Roberto Duran fighting at 50 years old, okay? So he can take this rest and then maybe go back to 140 and, even grab a belt there. So that is not a long shot, I think. But right now, if you're going to ask me if I'm satisfied sa kanyang retirement, okay na ako doon, bro. Okay na ako doon. We don't need to see him get battered, get beat up, na parang the likes of Luisito Espinosa na halos magmakaawa na mga Filipino fans na tama na, Lindol, you're past it. We don't need to see him like Muhammad Ali na meron ng signs and symptoms of Parkinson's disease, lumalaban pa rin, nilabanan pa the likes of Larry Holmes, no? We don't want to see him like Sugar Ray Leonard na, his last retirement, you wouldn't never thought in his career na he would get beaten by the likes of, Hector Camacho, who, legend, but you would have never thought in his entire career na natatalunin siya ng Camacho via stoppage, right? So, yung Manny Pacquiao, mahal natin okay? He's brought a lot of pride and honor to the country and we don't want to get, you don't want to see him hurt. Ihiramin ko nga yung laging sinasabi ng aking asawa. Yung mga nagsasabi sa kanya na mag-retire, it's coming from a place of love.
To end this discussion, just a short one, Robert, there's a possibility that he could make a comeback depending on the results of the election. Let's put it that way. Would you want to see him back in the ring?
To be honest, hindi na Kasi what else do you need to prove, di ba? So you have done everything already. You have achieved a lot of things. Actually, 8-weight division boxing champion. Parang malabo na yata ma-break yun. Then you have achieved a lot, won a lot, beaten a lot of champions. So if you're gonna ask me, I think that's it for Manny. Wala na akong nakikitang dahilan kung bakit babalik pa si Manny. Yeah, given the fact that you mentioned, the impossible factor dito is the result of the election, and as what JM mentioned earlier, magastos itong election, knowing the fact na presidente pa or the highest seat sa Pilipinas pa yung tatakbuhin niya. So, though of course, alam naman natin Manny got the money. Pero as what I mentioned earlier as well, kasi baka hanapin pa ng katawan niya. And again, yung laban naman niya against Ugas, hindi naman siya lopsided na he was beaten unanimously. Lumaban si Manny, he still has it.